What are we playing? Are we doing just verse race? We doing battle? What are we doing?
I'm down for the fucking just get into races.
Let's do it. I'm down. Get our asses kicked a little bit and see what's up.
Oh man, I'm rusty as all. This. I guess this is the part where we start the Johns before we get into the actual match.
You know, gotta get back into the swing of things, right?
Yeah.
Plus, also, it's gonna be all like split screen and stuff, so it's gonna be extra problems. You know.
Donkey Kong riding a Yoshi bike. I love it. I love it.
Oh.
I don't care. You know what song that is?
Never heard of it.
Wow.
Never heard of it.
Pink Gold. What do you think about these Pink Gold Peach and the Metal Mario?
I don't got too much of a problem with it, but I would prefer to see newer characters instead, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they do have, like, heavier weight and stuff, right? So, like, they have their own unique...
Yeah, minor differences.
Yeah.
But, yeah, personally, because they obviously don't take any development time, so if there's just extra way to fluff up the roster, whatever.
Yeah, why the hell not?
It's like clones and Smash.
Yeah, you know, you could do worse. What do you want to play?
Damn.
Do you want to go straight for Rainbow Road?
Let's do it.
Shit. Man.
Let's do it.
All right.
It's the new one, right?
Yeah.
All right, so ARMS.
Jumping right into it?
There've been a few global, what are they called? Testpunches?
Testpunch.
Testpunch, right?
Testpunch.
Yeah. Have you happened to try them out yet?
Yeah. I got it on most of them, not all of them. Sometimes, you know. The times were weird because it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 8 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I can't do all that. I got other things to do in my life.
Yeah.
A life to live.
One life to live.
Only one.
I used to watch that occasionally. No, actually. Good soap operas back in the day.
Oh, yeah?
Right.
Still watch them?
Nah.
Young and the Restless?
Nah.
Days of Our Lives?
That was a good one.
Hey, yeah. But, so I got a couple matches in with the ARMS. I like it. It was good. So I went with the motion controls at first. And then, that first playthrough, I like 15 minutes in, I had a knock back. And I had to go into, the motion, the regular style controls with the...
Why, you were tired?
It wasn't so much being tired. Like, I felt like it wasn't doing what I wanted to do. Oh. And I felt like it was a situation where, because of the hour that I had, I was like, I can't spend the time getting used to it because I want to know what the game is like, you know?
Yeah, true. Yeah,
So I bounced out. And in Splatoon, to be honest, I actually used the standard style controls anyway. Oh. So I figured I might as well. Yeah. And then for that, I kind of fumbled for a little bit too.
Wait, you didn't use the motion for Splatoon?
Nah, not for Splatoon. I did initially, and then I switched out, and I went to just regular controls.
How did the regular controls feel?
They're pretty good. I mean, I feel like the... even when I was playing the Test Splat, or rather the Test Fire, I still think they felt pretty good when I was doing that.
It should have been a Test Splat, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, the motion controls in Splatoon are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see a lot of people in the community saying that's like the definitive way to play that game.
Right. It was also something with, especially because of the way in which you would play that game, where if it was something where having like the screen in front of you in that way was a helpful thing. Yeah. But because of the nature of the Switch, like, you don't really have that. So
and now it's a menu you just prop up, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have a second screen in front of you to do extra things on.
To jump to your teammates and whatnot. So
like a lot of the benefits you have aren't necessarily 100% there.
Yeah.
But for ARMS, like, you know, it was really just a matter of, do I spend this hour getting used to it, or do I just say fuck it and try to get attuned with the game instead? Yeah. So I made that choice to go for. And then, like I said, I was kind of stumbling a little bit there, and then I just kind of got a grasp of the game, maybe around the 45-minute mark. Yeah. And I was thinking about switching back, but again, because of the time, you know, I didn't go back.
The time limits, they're good just for server stress testing.
Right.
You know, it gets everyone on it and overloading at that specific time, which is good for their back end.
Right.
But it would be good if they did provide, like, maybe closer to release.
Absolutely.
A more extended trial period.
For sure. It's one of those situations where, because this game is unique and different in its own way, that the hour works against it. But if it was like a more traditional style game, or even like with Splatoon, it didn't matter so much to me for Splatoon because I know what Splatoon is at this point.
It's a sequel you're used to.
You know, it's a known quantity, so I was like, oh, great, and it plays fine on the Switch controls, so I'm good.
What did you use, the grip with the
grip?
Joy-Con?
Yeah.
Nice.
But then when it came down to ARMS, I'm like, I don't really... Mute City?
You know we gotta go with that Mute City.
Hell
man.
yeah.
Wow, look at these heathens.
Yup.
No one... Okay, we got a couple choices. Nice. But yeah,
But with ARMS, because it's an unknown quantity, like when I was playing it, I'm like, I don't know if I'm messing up the controls. I don't know if it's that like they're not good, and I was like, I don't have enough time to really get to know that because I want to play it.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's back out, go into it, and I got used to it. I do feel like I got a better grasp of the game, so I would like to go back to motion controls, and when it comes out, I might try it. But my opinion with that game is that it's something where when you initially start it, you have to get a little acclimated to it because it's not...
You definitely want to go into like a training or versus
Right.
computers for your first go through.
And to its credit, what I actually really like about that game is that, just like Splatoon, it starts you off with like a tutorial thing, right? But then what it lets you do when you're waiting, even in the lobby, is you can just press start, and then you can sit there and you can do like a test run type thing, almost like Splatoon, where you had the gun test range.
Yeah.
So you have, and they've shown this in the Direct before too, where...
Is that the thing with the targets?
Yes.
Nice.
So you go and you have the target option there, so you can like get that to get a little used to the controls too, so when you're hanging out in the menu, you're not necessarily just like idling by, wasting your time kind of, you know?
No, wait, you said this is as you're waiting to find a match, or when you're in the lobby waiting to get into the game?
When you're in the lobby waiting.
Oh, that's cool.
So it actually like still looks for a game for you in the background while you're doing that. And it lets you test out the different like configurations with the different arms and stuff.
Yeah.
So like you're not really wasting your time in that hour that you have in a lot of ways. But while you're doing that, you know, what's important with that game that you have to kind of recognize is that you have to remember it's still a fighting game.
Yeah.
Right? And your instinct with the type of game, especially because you're like, oh, well, I want to curve and I want to do all this stuff and get really fancy with it. But it's less a fighting game in that sense and more of a boxing game.
Yeah.
And you have to time what you're doing with your hands, your arms, well. And you have to, like, it's one of those situations where you can't have both your arms out all the time, because if you do, someone that's patient and playing well is going to break your arms, so you can't actually hit. Or they're going to use that opportunity to do a dodge and then hit you in the back.
Oh, they'll read you.
Right.
You'll see it. You'll see your moves coming from miles
So
away.
it's a very methodical game in a lot of sense that like fighting games are generally methodical like that. But this game, by its nature of not necessarily being combo focused and more focused on the actual hits themselves, is a little bit more slowed down for that, you know?
You ever play Dive Kick?
Yes.
Dive Kick's all about the footsies. You know, that's what I like about ARMS. On the surface, very surface level, it looks very simple and accessible to play.
Right.
But you can tell that there's a level of depth there that where when ARMS was first revealed, you saw a lot of comparisons being made to Wii boxing.
Yeah.
But you can definitely see the level of depth there where it comes with the footsies or the different arm combinations you can have along with the characters. Speaking of which, who were the characters that you messed around with anyway? So
I got a chance to play as everyone.
Nice.
I didn't get to play as much Helix as I wanted to because he was very weird. He's my dude too. I really want to main him, I think, in the game, but I got to spend more time with him.
Yeah.
I played. So they had option as the Ribbon Boy or Spring Boy. Spring Boy?
Man.
Spring Man.
Yeah.
Ribbon Girl.
Yep.
Min Min.
Nice.
Ninjara. Master Mummy. Dr. Mummy.
And
Mummy
Mechanica.
Dude. Mummy Man. And Helix. And also Mechanica.
Yeah.
So my favorites wound up being Ribbon Girl, Mechanica, and Ninjara. Mummy Man is very good too. I'm annoyed that I kind of can't remember his name exactly, but he has the ability to, when blocking,
Master
heal.
Mummy or something?
Master Mummy, I think, is it?
Yeah. What are we looking at? Baby Park here?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Very nice.
But when he guards, he heals. It's not like a huge heal, but he heals, which is nice.
I can see that. It's crazy because when you start looking at the individual characters and their traits, like, well, Ribbon Girl can Can she double? What is her thing? She can triple jump, or is it?
She can double jump, but it ends up being a situation where you jump, you can dash, you can jump, you can dash, you can jump, you can dash. Yeah.
You can dash in the air. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she has a lot of mobility.
Right.
Master Mummy, he has the guard, the guard that lets him heal. Mm-hmm. That's so sick, and he can even take hits. There's something with him. Like, yeah, he'll take a hit and not have any hits done to him. Mm-hmm. Seems pretty cool. And then I still like to call him DNA Man because that's what they call him in Japan. Mm-hmm. But he can go into the little puddle and then he can dodge around.
That's what makes him really weird. Like he's so different from everyone else, but I really like that he can do those dodges and stuff. Yeah, like I want to mess with him more for sure. Looking
at these traits, every time they reveal the new character, then they show they create their trait. It seems like, oh wow, it's gonna be overpowered. But it's definitely at least right now on paper, it seems like it might be balanced in the fact that everything is overpowered.
Exactly.
So like with Min Min, she can kick away arms coming at her, and that on paper seems like it'll be broken, but in practice, I'm sure they've. At least when I got my hand, I'm interested to try it out to see to how far you can push that. Because once these mechanics are broken down by a competitive scene, they're gonna flock to the most effective thing.
Right.
So I'm very curious to see what the meta is gonna be going forward and what characters are gonna be played at a high level.
100%.
And whatnot.
I also feel like with this game too, because of its nature, where if you're mashing and you're doing these aggressive things, or because you made that comparison to Wii Boxing before, that everyone kind of seemed like tripping over themselves to make when the game was initially shown.
Yeah.
You have this thing where if you're doing that,
seems like there's a little animosity behind that.
I mean, it's something where
definitely surface level. People just love to draw immediate. Whether they're totally accurate or not, it's just what humans do.
But that's the thing too, is almost in defiance of that, the game is a type of game where if you play it like that, you're gonna get destroyed.
Yeah.
And that's where the learning curve was, I mentioned before, for me initially was treating it not as just going at it and being aggressive and punching all the time.
Yeah.
And the game by its nature is one, like I mentioned, it's a methodical game. You have to kind of think about the punches and what you're doing. And by virtue of that, because of what you're doing at that, then actually each one's moves ends up not being necessarily overpowered either. Because if you're doing Mummy, it's oh man, he can regenerate health. But Master Mummy is also a slow, big dude. And in the game's actual process, if you're actually not if you're just mashing out and punching and doing nothing else, then you're just going to get destroyed. And yes, he's going to be a big dude and he's going to tank hits and the hit stun's not going to matter and so on and so forth. But if you're dodging and you're doing it and using your mobility, then it kind of works against it. So it has a nice balance to it that works against the general feel you might initially have of it being overbalanced because of that. I felt like I actually ended up spending a lot of time as Ribbon Girl just because of in this game, especially with the way that the Testpunch is set up, is you only have access to their arms. So I think in the real finished game,
individual character's arms.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think you can unlock arms and then everybody can use arms.
Yeah.
In the completed game.
That in the direct?
I think so.
Yeah.
But that wasn't available in this.
Okay.
So in this game, it was just set up with what you had. So I liked her setup because again, it's one of those things too where in order to get a move out and a charge move, you have to hold the button to charge. And that means then you are not moving. So you have to kind of think about that, charge a move, and then you can toss out an arm that has a shock ability to it.
Okay.
And you can do that, and she has this real quick salamander thing. So you can toss one of those out, and then when you see it's about to hit, slap him with the thing.
Yep.
And it's a lot of thought about what it is you're going to do and kind of getting them into it. So it's a game that kind of forcibly slows you down.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting thing because of that.
Excuse me. Can you buffer the charge? Say you're in the middle of a double jump or something.
And move? I didn't really check to see if you could do it while double jumping, but you can charge and then move.
Okay.
So it's not like you would be tethered to the ground necessarily, but you are forced to kind of not move for that instant to charge.
Yeah.
And then obviously it has your hand goes on fire or whatever, so the other person can see you've charged.
Yeah. Now how is the have you tried any other modes or you just tried the 1v1?
It put you on a cycle.
Okay.
So you would get, depending upon what it was on or whatever, how many people were available, 1v1s, 2v2s, 1 versus 2s or whatever. Mm-hmm. The volleyball thing. I preferred 1v1s and 2v2s. The volleyball I didn't necessarily hate, but I didn't necessarily like either. For a couple reasons. and the free-for-alls that were like 3 of us were crazy. So to kind of go into those things, like, so one of the games with the 3, let's talk about the free-for-alls first, right?
Yeah.
So for the free-for-alls,
I've been seeing a lot of for free-for-alls, I call them. A lot of double teams going on,
right?
Where like the tactic is you stay behind someone and try to bait them into being the monkey in the middle.
Kind of. That's actually what I've seen a lot of too, and that was like the really frustrating thing is that some of the stages are very conducive for that sort of play.
Okay.
Because there's this one stage that's basically like in front of a like monastery or temple or something,
Is that
right?
the one that's on the staircase, the big stairs? Okay.
So if you're unlucky and you start on the bottom and like the other 2 start on top, like you're fucked. Like there's like nothing you can really do to really make that comeback because all you're gonna do is like you have to fight such an uphill battle, literally. Yeah. And it's so crazy that like it's just you know,
I'm just getting demolished over here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I ran into so many situations where it was like, okay, so I'm all the way on the bottom, I gotta climb up. There's these 2 dudes at the top and they're basically just gonna aim for me as I try to make the slow climb up.
Yeah.
And then what's gonna happen is like someone's gonna do that and then one of them's gonna pull back and hang out in the back. And then it's going to be me fighting the other one, and then I'm going to have like a quarter of my life left to kill this guy who's got 75% of it. And I'm like, well, that sucks, so it totally isn't going to be conducive to me being able to do anything.
Yeah.
And that's what made it really, like, difficult to make work, you know?
Now, how some of this, can any of this be chalked up to you just learning the game, or...
I think so.
You think it'll just be that way going forward?
I think it's something that, like, there's some learning... some growing pains going on with that.
Yeah.
I also feel like it's a situation in which as you're playing the game and as you're improving and doing whatever you're doing with that too, like you'll know how to handle those situations where you're getting jumped.
Yeah. Like in this Mario Kart match.
Yeah.
Struggling out here, man.
I know. I had first and I lost it at the very end. I don't know what happened. Someone must have got a shortcut. I wasn't paying enough attention. But with the nature of the two on ones too, like so, you know, some of it is like also a little bit of zoning. So while you're playing the game, it drops items on occasion. And some of the items might be like bombs. Some of the items may be like, here's like a health drink. And like if you're in the area of effect, then you'll get
it's like a little hill, right? Like a little circle.
Right. And you'll get some, during that time that you're in there, some health or some of the charge that you can do, like your super, where you go yellow and then you could get a flurry of punches out. And that's when you can kind of like get your Wii boxing waggle style thing in, you know?
And that's a separate bar that builds manually?
Yes.
Does
I think while you're getting hit and also while you're hitting.
That's what I was about to ask. Right.
So both ways you do it.
Okay.
So while you're going up, and like I saw myself improve as I was doing it, where you know, you just kind of you walk your way up slowly, you guard, you dodge, and then you use those things to your effect, because if everyone's waiting at the top, those things are mostly at the middle, you're probably going to be able to get them before the A.
Yeah.
So I do feel like it'll be alleviated somewhat as the game kind of grows, but still it made it really difficult for now and kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
Same thing with the volleyball, which is
That's actually my most anticipated mode.
I had such fun with volleyball, actually, to be really honest.
Yeah.
Except for when it was like 2-on-2, and in situations where I didn't have a good setup for it. So because of its rotating nature...
So volleyballs are both 1-on-1s and 2v2s?
Yes.
Okay, that's good news.
And I would occasionally have someone that, and this is what 2v2s really sucked,
yeah,
is that someone decided they wanted to drop because they don't like volleyball. So it would be then a 2-on-1, and I would just get destroyed because it would be me against...
All right, so that's something, a good question to ask. How does it handle that? Does it just plays through the match normally?
They just drop, and then... That's it.
Doesn't disconnect the match or anything?
Nah.
Okay.
So it was just me and 2 other people and just not a good time, to be honest. But the way that works, obviously, is it's volleyball. And what you have is, and some of this too, I'll again chalk up to it being a new game, people not quite understanding what happens, is if you do your grab, your throw,
yeah,
it basically serves as a set. So you can set it up and you get this little like green gale wind tornado type thing under it, and it holds the ball up there, and now anyone can hit that. So
when
the game
you say it holds the ball, you with your arms holds the ball, or just the
in the air. So like the wind kind of holds it up in the air.
Okay.
But when it's like that, anyone can hit that ball.
Okay.
And you're allowed to put your arms over the net to hit. So you'll get a lot of people that are setting, and then the other team is going and hitting it because like they're not really, like they're not understanding that it's setting it and it's keeping it there. Like they think it might be like a stronger hit or something. Mm-hmm. You also end up with these situations where you're not. It's a good way to describe it. So like you're playing the game, whatever, you're going through it, and if you're not having sets be an issue, right? Then what you're winding up with is people that are, again, flailing and punching.
Yeah.
And they're not sending the ball in directed ways. And so sometimes you'll come across a team that is doing that the right way, and they're sending things off in the way that they need to go. And they're sending balls to, like, the right end of the court and the left end of the court and behind you and so on and so forth. And you have nothing to do against that if someone's like, you know, your arms are out, so what are you going to do? You know, you can only hit the ball if you have arms, right?
Yeah.
There's no other way to hit it. The other thing that made it really difficult is that if your setup was, like, say you're Ribbon Girl, and you have the Salamander, and you have, like, she generally speaking, from what she has, is light things, and they're not necessarily bad. The Salamander, again, comes out quick. It's a quick hit. That's not bad. That's a good thing to have. But say you're against Master Mummy, and Master Mummy, with his defaults, are all really heavy hitters. So you can't switch characters or whatever because of the rotational nature of it.
Yeah.
So you're stuck with who you have at that point. Once you see it's volleyball, you can't switch over. So like, well, I could try my best, but like I'm already at a disadvantage because this character's gonna fuck me up. Like I'm quicker, but it doesn't necessarily matter if he hits the ball, it goes flying to the other end of the court. Like, I have to hit the ball then 3 times to get it to go back. At that point, my arms are retracting. He just comes through and he slams it, and all of a sudden, like, I'm working to kind of get it back over, you know?
Yeah.
So it makes it a lot tougher. And
So,
that was a big issue, I feel.
So with some communication, I feel like that'll probably be a fun mode then.
Right. If you're playing with someone else and you can talk to each other, I think absolutely it would be... You would see a lot of improvement from that, for sure.
I think we'll have some fun with that mode.
I think so.
What was your favorite combination of arms?
With Ribbon Girl, definitely she had a Charger, her default yellow. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what it's called exactly, Chargy or something. And then the Salamander. I would pop off with that. It would be phenomenal.
I want to use the shield.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the one that they showed with DNA Helix?
Yeah.
And then mix that with like the Slapmander or the Dragon.
Yes, the Dragon was cool. With Min Min, I liked using the Dragon with her. With Mechanica, I like to use the Magnum she has. So it's this one that shoots out, and then she gets like a bunch of little arms that come out of it, like 3 of them.
The 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was very good in combination with her hammer. I like that one a lot. I think that was very effective. You have something that is like rapid fire style type thing, very light. Mm-hmm. You have something that's just a heavy hitter, and it works out pretty well. The homie I thought was pretty good too, but I preferred the other 2 better. But those are like the main setups I'd used. I am very interested in seeing like what happens once you can play as whoever and pick whatever.
Whatever arm, yeah.
You know?
You think there'll be, as of right now, how does the balance look?
It felt pretty good. Like, it's definitely a learning curve that it has for now, but I felt like by the end of the 3rd Testpunch that I got to play through, I definitely felt more comfortable with what was happening.
Okay.
With the controls and the style of play. Like, there's a birth of difference. Like, I feel like it was a good idea for them to have a demo for the game for sure. It's just something that first hour you play, if you're playing it, like, you are probably going to suck and get your ass kicked. And that's not necessarily the best feeling in a game in general anyway, at all. And you have to kind of handle that, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're
it's
someone that kind of...
perception thing.
For sure.
Because even with the 1v1v1, I can see that just being a mode that a lot of people probably won't get into.
Right.
But if you're playing that with 3 buddies,
right,
I can see that being so much fun.
Absolutely.
Because like in Smash, for example, that I love playing 3-falls because like you have 2 people mixing up combos on the one person, but as long as you're not constantly double teaming that guy, then you know it's still fun. It's just how you go into it with what mind, and then appreciating the fact that it's maybe not the way you're always gonna play it anyway.
Exactly.
So as an offshoot mode, it seems like it could be fun.
I think too, when the game comes out, like I think you're a little bit more conducive to be like, well, obviously I need to learn the game.
Yeah.
I think that because of the test nature and the hour, you're a little bit more likely to be like, fuck, I just gotta go, you know? That's a feeling you won't run into, I think, when the game is actually out. And that's a big difference, I feel, for sure.
Now, how do you think the legs are gonna be for this game?
I think it's got
gonna have
legs.
active
I think
community?
ARMS has legs.
Nice.
I think that from again the short period of which that we were able to play it in general, right? I feel like it's a game that has a lot of strategy and tactics to it. It's slow, it's methodical. Because it doesn't have combos by its nature, you have to kind of think about the actions that what you're doing, and I think that separates it drastically from your normal fighter game fare, even like your Smash Brothers.
Any options?
TikTok clock.
Good choice.
Yep. But because it's so different, I feel like that's something that really kind of lends itself to its own area of the fighting game. Like, I've seen a lot of comparisons to Virtual On, and I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Yeah.
But, you know, with the way that this game kind of goes, like, it's leans in hard into that boxing style that I think really makes it a very interesting game. I would be interested in seeing exactly where it goes, and kind of keeping along with it, but I think that it has personality. I think it has a really good look to it.
The character design I think is incredible.
Absolutely. Like, I think they knocked that out of the park 100%. And I think that because of that, like, that's something that is gratifying and kind of ingratiates people to want to play it.
Yeah.
And I think that lends itself to, with its unique style, making people want to.
It has a very distinct style where you can't mistake it for anything else. And I feel it could be a strong brand going forward for Nintendo, where you can even. Honestly, I love the character design so much that I can see one of them in Smash. But like, if there is a Smash Deluxe, I wouldn't doubt if there's an ARMS character in it. But I would probably save that for the next Smash game.
Yeah.
At this point, maybe give because you know, speaking of Smash Deluxe, if they're gonna add any new characters, Inkling Girl,
Oh, for sure.
or Boy is definitely gonna get priority there.
Yeah, for sure. Both, I think, just like you have male, female corn.
Alternate costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for sure that's the first person they would get in. But I also, like you said, like, those are the characters that, like, you make Smash 5, like, that trailer. It's like, oh, here's Ribbon Girl. Right.
Speaking of which, the theme song.
Yeah.
I love it. I freaking love it.
During
So
the
catchy.
lobby, you can press A or L and R, and you can, like, play, like, the little drums and stuff and make faces with your characters.
Oh, that's cool.
Or, like, shake their head and stuff. So, like, you can, like, make music while you're doing it. It's very fun.
It's a lot of personality in this game.
Absolutely.
Nice.
I wonder how it's going to go in terms of, like Splatoon is very popular, especially in Japan. It's like, you know,
It's
what are they doing for
competitive play,
Splatoon? Like, they're straight up, they're coming out with what, the paint-colored Pro controllers. They're coming out with the neon green and pink controllers. They're selling the
Is
box.
it like carrying case too?
Yes. They have the deluxe edition that comes with a copy of Splatoon.
No.
So if you buy a Switch, you can get a copy of Splatoon with it.
Yeah.
If you want, you already have a Switch or whatever, you can buy the box for $5. So, like, I mean, like, I've never really seen that before. So, like, Splatoon is, like, hot.
It's hot in demand for sure.
For sure. I don't feel like ARMS will reach that level. I would be surprised if it does.
Yeah.
But I think that they have something at least comparable for the most part. In a lot of other ways, at least.
Yeah. So overall, you left the
Positive.
Test Punch is positive.
Looking forward to next week. Next week we'll have different characters. It's going to have the basketball game instead of the volleyball game. And I wonder if it'll have different stages, too. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm definitely interested in that. Like, I want to play as, like, Twinrella? Twintelle? Tintella?
Yeah.
I want to play as her. So, like, there's characters that I'm interested in really seeing how they play, for sure, next week.
She looks cool. I like her hair or the arms.
Right.
It's pretty cool. I mean, I want to find out more. Dang it. Look at this. Just got knocked off. Oh, I'm still in second. Let's go.
That's how it goes.
I'm interested to see the like some of the backstory behind these characters.
Yes.
Because Mechanica, she doesn't have the arms like that.
Nope.
She has the suit.
Yep.
And not all the characters, for example, have those arms.
Mm-hmm.
Like Twintella has the hair.
Right.
So I want to see what this dark lore behind ARMS is. Were they born this way? Did they go through crazy experiments?
Mm-hmm. What was it they had during the direct where it was like a little bit, it seemed like a story? It was like a genetic mutation for certain people.
For Helix?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean for the, just in general, lightly touched upon. Well, what's the guy's name that does the talking in the directs? The little guy?
Oh, Biff. Biff?
Biff, yes. Biff.
Yeah. So like he like goes through and he does like a brief summary of what the story is or whatever. Like it was very small. Like obviously I guess there'll be more about it and whatever.
And plus, I'm sure there won't be any of that. It won't go heavy into it, but that's what's going to make it interesting to see what the community does with it.
Well, like with Splatoon 2 is like Splatoon is like a game where like at its surface it's like whatever, it's fun and whatever, but like the world of that game is one where like the ocean like overtook like humans are dead and like this is like what we've evolved into and stuff. Like, you know, like it gets a little dark, but you have to kind of look for it, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be the same thing with this game. Because, like, in the direct, they're like, that's what Helix is they're, like, experimenting to find out why there's this genetic mutation.
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing where it goes, for sure.
It's like Helix playing on his stage, and then you think he's aware of who he is, his situation? You think he has any self-awareness?
I wonder.
Because he sees himself in those tubes, or other creations of himself. And it's like, is that my family? Is that me? Am I the first in line? Am I one of them to succeed? What am I? What is my existence? What's my purpose? I need to know. Tell me, Nintendo.
You need to make individual stories for each character.
It's gonna be so interesting to see what the community does with this game, because like you look at something like Splatoon or even Overwatch, where there's not a lot of definitive lore or fiction within the games themselves, but then there's a lot of headcanon that fans create, you know.
Right.
And then if you're looking at someone like Blizzard, going forward, they even actually use some of that stuff to build their characters in future updates and whatnot.
Haven't they said at this point too, like whatever like the fan canon is what the canon is for Overwatch?
I don't think they've said anything specific like that, but they've alluded to. They never outright said that, I don't believe, but they've alluded to it with their design. Like, for example, Reaper has some new spray now, which is like some like shrug spray, where people made that into a meme online. So it's very self-aware, you know, with the community and whatnot.
That's good.
But you know, it's just fun to be actively engaged with these games.
100%.
When there's a big community backing behind it.
I agree.
So what do you think they'll show at E3 for ARMS specifically?
I would be surprised if they do, because it comes out this month, June.
June?
Yeah.
Also, Splatoon is July, right?
Yeah. Splatoon is July, so I feel like
probably won't show much then, huh?
Nah, I don't think. I bet it would be there playable, but I don't see anything more than like a minute or two or whatever. Like, I mean, I feel like you got to pimp it, because obviously that's the point. It comes out the week of E3.
Yeah.
So, like, you put it out there and you're like, oh, it's the new game that's out now and you can buy it, whatever. And I think that's kind of the extent of it. I would be a little bit surprised and disappointed if they went further than that, because I don't think they need to. I think that's also why you have, like, the direct, you know?
Yeah.
So, because you're not going to talk about it then, so now is when you have the time to do that. I'm interested in seeing what they'll have for E3 otherwise. They came out and they said, like, they're going to have Odyssey, and you know that Mario's going to be there.
Oh,
and that's like their big push.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in seeing what else they have. It looks like it's going to be like a very busy year for the Switch, which I'm a little excited
Year one
for.
for the Switch is looking pretty good, honestly.
Looking very good with the way things are looking out, especially now with some more recent announcements, like Monster Hunter's coming out in August in Japan. I don't know when that's coming out in America or if it will. Although what I will say is that they've been pretty good about worldwide releases, and if the way things are going right now, that you have basically ARMS this month, then you have Splatoon next month, then you have Monster Hunter and the Rabbids game, which we'll talk about, and then in September, maybe then that, like, because it's August, September for Rabbids, but like I'm interested in seeing, like, if you have one big release each month, that's pretty good to me. And I in Japan, again, Dragon Quest X is coming out in September. So, like, you have, like, these pretty big releases kind of going forward.
Yeah.
So it puts us in this really interesting position where like I want to know what they have to talk about at E3. But I want to know what's kind of beyond at that point too.
Yeah. Although it would be nice to have some teases for beyond that.
Yeah.
But ideally, I'm more of a...
I want to know what's out this year.
And release it soon. Yeah.
Right.
So, like, you know, they've already said they're going to have a blowout for Mario. Mm-hmm. Which, speaking of which, there's some chatter that people still think is going to be delayed past this year. Well, how are you feeling on that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, nah.
I think that...
I don't think they can.
Yeah.
You know, this first year with Zelda and Mario, huge.
Absolutely. But I feel like it's one of those things that can go both ways because I think they know that Mario is super important.
Yeah.
And, like, you can't fuck that up.
That's a big holiday game.
Absolutely. So, like, they needed to make holiday, but also at the same time, they need it to be the game it needs to be because you cannot come out with a Mario and have it be lackluster in any form. That game needs to come out in perfect.
Yeah.
Especially because of the Switch.
You know, it's no pressure, Mario. No pressure.
Yeah, you know?
Just perfect.
Perfect. 100% perfect. I mean, that game is actually leaning on a lot of things that, like, it especially really needs to be. Like, you can say for something like Mario 3D World or something like that, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily need to have that level of polish. Or, like...
Wait, what do you mean?
So this game being the first one that's like a Mario 64 hub world style, I think there's a lot of expectations that are laid on it, whereas something like Super Mario 3D World does not have that.
Okay.
And so you have a certain threshold that needs to be met that
you're saying wasn't there for 3D World?
Right.
Okay.
Because I think it's like it's a Mario platform, it needs to be really well done, and there's like a certain level of polish expected out of it, but this is like, I think, the sort of thing that, or to kind of put in more context, I don't know if you remember that when Mario 3D World was out and shown, there was a lot of people who were like, oh, it's like, yeah, it's a good game, but like, it's not, I want the next Galaxy.
Yeah.
And that's what this game has on its shoulders, is it needs to be that next Galaxy. You know what I'm saying? And that's a really rough road for it to kind of have to go on.
That, it needs to be the next 64.
Right.
Because there's definitely a divide within the Mario fan base, I guess you would say, the community, where you have the 2Ds obviously, but then you have the 3D World and the Super Mario Land,
right?
And then you have the Galaxy games, which is somewhere in the middle. And then this they've promoted it as being a return to the 64 days open exploration and whatnot. So there's a lot that comes with that, because we haven't seen a game like this in over 10 years with Sunshine.
Exactly.
And then that game even was very polarized with how people perceived it. You know, some people even still today don't like it. Mm-hmm. Whereas, you know, I think there's definitely been more people that came around to it over time.
Right.
But this is a game, especially for a new console, they have to come out swinging. And then, you know, hopefully, and everything that we've seen so far, it seems like they're going to be hitting those same notes that that we've been wanting for the past 10 to 15 years or whatever.
Exactly.
People will win for this, you know?
You know, like, I can see where, like, I think Galaxy was incredible, but, like, I could see the through line and how that was an evolution of that style.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I feel like someone who looks at something like 3D World is more of, like, this is an evolution of that new Super Mario Brothers style. Yeah. And a lot of people aren't really so interested in that new Super Mario Brothers type of game as much as they are, obviously, in 64.
It was Super Mario Land. What was it on the 2DS specifically?
It was Super Mario 3D Land.
3D Land.
Yeah.
Right. 3D Land.
And it was 3D World.
Right.
So, like, this was kind of like, again, it was something where it was not necessarily the revolution that Mario usually brings.
Stage?
I'm good for either one.
Or random. They're all good.
Down with that. But for Mario, like, you know, there's a lot of, like, things there that it kind of needs to really hit that I'm excited to see exactly how they blow it up.
What is a couple big points for you that you want to see?
I really want
not that it's make or break or anything, but something you're anticipating or hoping that it was going to make it.
I need, like, obviously, you know, it's a hub world type situation, right? They've talked about that, but rather, I guess, to be more specific, they've mentioned that it's that open type of setting, right? But they haven't necessarily mentioned a hub. How about a hub? Maybe not necessarily a castle or something. Like, there's that hat ship thing.
Yeah.
That they've shown. I'm hoping that it's not just that in like a Super Mario Galaxy 2 style. I'm hoping that you actually have a thing in a place that you go to and do things.
Expands, you can explore within itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's really important to me. Exactly. You know, Peach's Castle, Delfino Island, like, those are the things that I really like that alone would really set the tone for that game for me in a lot of ways. That I think that's a super important thing to have. And I'm really interested in seeing what the hell the hat's about in terms of what it brings to mobility. Because, like, I don't know if you remember in the trailer, like, he throws the hat and he can use it to jump on.
Jump on it.
Like, right. And I feel like one of the things that I really liked about for Sunshine was that you had Flood that gave you extra mobility options.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people can say whatever they want about Sunshine, but I feel like that mobility was appreciated, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that extra mobility options in a platforming game are always welcome. So I'm really interested in seeing what that has. I'm interested in seeing if it's upgradable or if it's just static.
Because they've shown the hats shop.
Right.
So I wonder to what extent that's going to go. Are you going to be able to upgrade your hats?
Exactly.
Are you going to buy new hats? Or are you going to find them throughout the maps like in 64? Mm-hmm. How that all... You know, honestly, I'm looking forward to this at E3, and I really want to see Mario, but part of me just wants to go dark.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can. I think I'm going to be able to. Maybe after E3 I'll go dark, but at this point, my body needs it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been wanting a Mario game for so long like this. I just want to, like, do some triple jumps, bounce off, do a wall jump, do a sideways dive. Oh, man, the open-ended nature of 64 is why, and Sunshine even, is why those games are still heavily, speedrunners are heavily playing them today still.
Right.
So I'm curious to see, even to that extent, how the community is going to receive it. Mm-hmm. If there's going to be, because you know the community is going to break it apart. There's going to be like an hour. The first like couple days, you're going to beat the game in an hour. Then it's going to be 5 minutes.
Right.
So I'm excited to see where the community takes it. Mm-hmm. But as far as like what the game offers you for just like the normal players,
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to the options, the different maneuvers that he has. Any abilities besides the hats, like is he going to be able to punch and kick?
Right.
Although I'm not expecting it because he has the hat as an attack, but still, you know,
for sure,
so many unanswered questions going into this game.
Yeah, and that's exciting, I think, in a lot of ways.
Definitely.
For the presentation now, because I know that they've said that obviously it's going to be a big Mario blowout, right? But what I'm hoping is that it doesn't wind up being a only Mario blowout, you know? Like, I want to see Mario, I'm excited to know and learn more about Mario, but I want to know about other games. And we're in this position where we kind of know what the Switch release schedule is, for the most part, throughout the rest of the year. In vague terms, right? Yeah. We don't know exactly when, like, can you press Y real quick?
Oh, you have your...
Yeah, I need to turn that off. It took me a little long to notice that.
Is it the next screen?
No, it was that one. I fucked up.
So Y again?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you can't.
Back out.
Oh, you can back... Oh, well.
Well, all right, we'll do the next one.
One more round.
Next one will be all right.
Yeah.
But, like, we generally know, like, some of the games that are supposed to come out between now and the end of the year, even from Nintendo, right? Like Fire Emblem Warriors. We know that there's going to be Mario, obviously. Things like that.
Now would be a good time to bring up that little game that got that little leaky faucet.
Right.
Although, you think it was an intentional leak, or...
Nah, I don't think so.
But how freaking crazy would it be if E3, they come out and they're like, yeah, so we don't know how that happened. And then on screen you see a Rabbid. Like, you find out that it was the Rabbids that leaked it, and it was all part of the plan. That would be so funny.
That'd be fun. That'd be a cute way to go about it.
And I'm just throwing this out there, but I think this has been something that's been in the works for the past few years, where this crossover has been in the making. Because if you look at Nabbit, what the hell is Nabbit? He's a rabbit, I'm telling you.
It's true.
He's part of the Rabbids. He's going to be key to the story. Maybe he's like... He's the hero that's been lost from the Rabbids universe. They're trying to get him back. Maybe they need him. He's like the Aragorn of the Rabbids universe. I'm telling you, there's a connection there that is not seen yet.
It's possible. Hey, I wouldn't be against it. Make Nabbit a main character. Let's go. Bring Waluigi in there too. Let's go.
But yeah, from these, I mean, personally, I think it's.
So, do you think that it's going to be at Nintendo's thing or Ubisoft? I feel like Ubisoft announces that. It's a Ubisoft produced game.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a surprise they would come out
which
with.
conference comes first?
Ubisoft.
They come first?
So I think Ubisoft would come out and they would do what they got to, and I think they would say it. And I think that would be... I would hope they would have other things to announce for the Switch, but I feel like that would be what they would kind of go for. You know, I think that would be their big surprise. Maybe they even get, like, you know, Reggie or someone out there or whatever. But,
Wearing a Rabbids pin?
wearing a Rabbids hat. Something like that. But I feel like that's a Ubisoft thing. I'm also hoping it's a Ubisoft thing because, like, I think it's a known quantity at this point. I don't really need it to be a part of the conference. I'd rather that time be devoted to something I don't know about.
Yeah. Although at the same time, I wouldn't be bothered if it is at Nintendo.
Me either, because it was leaked, you know?
Yeah, and they want to put their power behind it. You know,
Exactly. And that's reasonable. But it's also, I think, for me, because it's supposed to come out August, September.
Okay.
So, like, I'm kind of, again, where it's like the things that I don't want to see, I don't want to see ARMS. I don't want to see Splatoon. I don't want to see Rabbids.
Okay.
Because they're coming out within the next 3 months, so I'll have them soon. You know what I mean?
Something 6 months plus.
Right. I want to see what's coming out in that September on period. You know, because that's like, again, we don't know what's in that schedule for that point. So I want to know what's going to be in that position. You know, what is it they feel is going to take that point? You know?
I mean, I don't know what your sources have been saying. We haven't done a lot of, you know, checking our sources with each other.
Yeah.
But not to break it now or anything, but I've been hearing some things about this Donkey Croyd
I've heard.
crossover. It's
I've
like
heard.
Donkey Kong Metroid crossover.
It's a Donkeyvania.
Donkeyvania, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's playable characters. You can Donkey Kong data. It's 2D. All right, it's not gonna be 3D.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people still have some feelings that they need to get over from Donkey Kong 64.
True.
Collecting all those bananas.
Mm-hmm.
But it should be an interesting game.
Well, I heard that they're actually coming out with a game called Metroidvania, which is going to be Metroid and Castlevania crossover with Konami.
I think that comes out later on, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll.
That's going to be 2D art style.
Yeah. But going back to the Donkey Roid.
Press Y?
Oh. You know, I'm hearing that you can, like, Donkey Kong gets different powers. You know, like the things he has in Smash, the ground pound he has, and then the punch. Those are different abilities that he has that he needs to get. Did you do it?
I'm good.
Okay.
All set.
But yeah, I mean, who knows? It can be interesting.
Oh, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing it. You know. But with
going back to
I'm looking to see about Donkey Roid, and I have some more information about that later on. With Rabbids, the rumors that they had about that with the story and stuff before when it was like initially leaked was that it was supposed to be that the Rabbids are like invading Mushroom Kingdom. Mm-hmm. And you're not actually playing as Mario or the Rabbids, you're playing as, and you can see him on the box art, that little like robot rabbit thing. His name is Tutorio. And you're controlling him to then like give out orders, I guess, to other people. Yeah. So I'm interested in seeing what that kind of stuff necessarily does or leads to or whatever, you know?
You think
how far they go into like
with like the parties, you
right?
know, you can mix and match.
I hope so.
What's your party gonna look like? The badass princess.
I gotta get all the Yoshis in there, all the different Yoshis in there.
Yeah. Gotta
have the selfie princess, and you gotta have Mario's in there.
the Rabbid princess is freakishly adorable. I love it. Although
it's very silly. It leans into it in a way.
Yeah, I don't know. I love it.
Yeah, I like it.
I remember when this thing first started coming around with what was the Laura? What's her name?
Laura K. Buzz.
With the leaks beforehand, before the Switch was revealed.
Yeah.
So Laura Dale.
Yeah.
So when she announced the Rabbids game, a lot of people were like, no, there's no way. And then they didn't even want to see it happen. But
right.
Going forward, it's like, if it's going to have that quality that you see with other Nintendo games, and if they put that level of care in it that they're known for, I can see it being a very good third-party,
I see no reason to immediately dismiss it in the way that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
And I think it's been a really, like, weird and disappointing feedback or backlash provided to it, because they announce it or like whatever got leaked and so on and so forth, and immediately go on Twitter and everyone's just like tripping over their dicks to be the first to make like the hottest take about the game. Bless you.
Thank you.
And it's kind of this situation where it's like it doesn't sound like it's that bad by its nature, And I don't think the Rabbids are that bad either. I think the problem with the Rabbids is that they got oversaturated. Because very quickly there was way too many Rabbids games. And I think that the Rabbids are kind of relatively cute in their own way, too.
Relatively.
And I think that they fit well with, like, a merger of this universe. And I saw some people like, why not just make it Rayman? Well, it's like, the Rabbids have kind of broken out and done their own thing, where they're not part of Rayman really
huge
anymore.
in Europe, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Skylanders situation. Skylanders leaned on the Spyro name, and now you can't find Spyro anywhere in Skylanders. It's not relevant anymore. They used it to leverage interest and get people wanting to fucking get involved with the franchise, and now the franchise is coming to its own, and they don't need to. So, sure, I'm sure Rayman wouldn't necessarily be, unwanted or, a crossover with it, but, the Rabbids make sense in terms of what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't see anything that tells me the game is going to be bad or anything like that, and I think just because the Rabbids are involved doesn't make me say, oh, man, I have no interest in this,
Look, not to cut you off, but there's another character named Steve using Yoshi.
Oh, shit.
That's pretty funny.
That's a jerk. I hate that guy.
But yeah, as you were saying.
Yeah, I just feel like, the Rabbids were involved and people were just like, oh, and you give the Mario characters to a Western company and the first thing to do is give them guns. And I'm like, first off, they're laser arm cannon things that I wouldn't really say Mario hasn't ever used before. You look at Smash, he's got lasers, Yeah. And the other thing being is this whole game has to 100% have oversight from Nintendo.
That's what I'm expecting.
I don't expect that they're going to go crazy with the guns or anything like that,
Yeah.
So it's weird, it was just like I said, everyone just kind of falling over themselves to down talk this game and be very averse to it for a way that didn't necessarily make sense to me.
So I think going into E3, seeing more Rabbids and whatnot, I think we're both going into it positively, open mind, hoping for the best.
For Nintendo, for sure. I feel like
Nintendo in general, you're saying, right?
Yeah. And I'm really interested in seeing what the future is. Coming out early and having Capcom say stuff about Monster Hunter gets me excited because I wonder what else they have. If they can put that stuff out now before E3, then I wonder what they have to show at E3.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if it's nothing, because at that point, then why not wait till E3 to show it? Again, though, that's coming out in August. So, I love the quick turnaround of, here's an announcement, here's a game coming out in 3 months. I love that. But I want to know about Virtual Console. I want to know a little bit about the online, which I honestly don't expect to hear about.
No?
Nah.
Doesn't it launch this summer?
Summer
or is
to...
it's in the fall, isn't
yes.
it? Yeah.
So, it could be August.
Summer, but it gets a couple months of free online.
Right. Okay. So, I would expect that probably to drop, let's say October, whatever. And
They'll probably have a direct for that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you come out at E3 and you talked about that stuff.
No, our first one.
Man.
That's all right.
Not too bad. We'll find other games. All good.
Yeah.
But I would expect to hear about the Virtual Console, and I'm kind of hoping that it's on there now, and so on and so forth.
Shadow drop.
Yep.
That would be amazing.
I'd be into that. I want to hear if they have GameCube Virtual Console, but that's, again, wishful thinking. There's no guarantee for that stuff.
I would love to see it.
I would love it.
Launches with Smash,
yep.
F-Zero.
Get Wave Race on there, get Luigi's Mansion, and
Sunshine.
Get me some Sunshine, and that'd be good. Because I would actually really down to play Sunshine again. Press A?
I want to play Rogue Leader.
Oh, yeah.
But
there's a lot of GameCube games I'd love to replay. I'm really interested in having them on there. Hell yeah.
Still holds up.
For sure. But, those are things I kind of really want to hear about for them.
Yeah. Xenoblade.
Yeah.
You think that's coming out this year?
I think so.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
I think so. I think they're working on it for a while.
No chance in hell.
No? If there's a game to get delayed, I would say it's that. Yeah. But I feel like I don't see any reason to think not.
When was the last game?
Xenoblade?
Franchise, yeah. Was it Xenogears X?
No, Xenoblade Chronicles.
Xenogears Chronicles? Yeah.
For the Wii U.
Was that the last one?
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was that? That was 2015, was it?
Well, it came out here late. And it came out in Europe on time. So, it came out in Japan, I think a year later in Europe. And then they eventually brought it out here. Damn, son. What happened?
I don't like the way you were looking at it.
I'll look away.
But by that time, it's expected to come out the end of this year, that would have made it like probably like 2 or 3 years, right?
Somewhere, probably between that 3 to 4, maybe. Like, when did the new 3DS come out? Because then they came out with the game on that, and then they had come out with...
close to the end of last year.
The end of last year? I think it was 2 years ago, the new 3DS.
The new 3DS?
The new 3DS?
Didn't they have a sale last Black Friday?
They might have, but I think that the new 3DS is older than that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Because Majora's Mask came out in March, but I just don't remember if it was last year or the year before.
It all blends together.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. But it's like somewhere within that 3 to 4 years, I would say, is when it came out here. But it came out here late because I think they thought that we didn't have much of an interest in it and so on and so forth. Like, I don't think they did much to localize it other than just get rid of, like, the French and Spanish voices. It was also one of those games that was heavily imported on the Wii because people just wanted an RPG, so they just got the European one. So eventually they brought it out here. But I think they've been working on it long enough, and I think that obviously they know it's a franchise that has interest, and they feel like it's a main franchise because you have Shulk in Smash. So like they feel like he's someone that they want to represent. So I feel like there's more reasons than not to believe that it'll probably make that release date. The question then becomes...
Rabbids.
Nice.
I'm telling you, they're everywhere.
The question is, are they going to come out with it this year in Japan, or are they going to come out with this year worldwide?
Yeah.
And that's what you're kind of up in the air about.
Now, I guess as a final discussion point for this E3, what we're looking forward to, let's end it with dreams.
Well, you just want to talk about like dreams in general, or you want to talk about like the other companies too?
Nah, let's leave it with Nintendo since we're playing this Mario Kart.
All right.
What would be a dream for you? Because like for me, I can immediately tell you, I want to see the next Metroid game. I need it. My body needs it. I've been waiting for it. Whether it's 2D, although I would love if it was a 2D game, but I wouldn't expect a AAA budget. I would love like a modest budget to it, something small. Because these days there's been tons of Metroid-like games, Metroidvanias or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And with small budgets, like for example, Ori wasn't a AAA game, and I thought it's one of my personal favorite Metroid-style games. And something like that with the Nintendo seal of approval on it, with a 2D Metroid game being brought back, I think could be very, very well received. For sure. As far as 3D Metroid, I would love to see it. I hope that's what Metroid's working on. But Metroid something is what my dream would be.
I'd be down for that. I can go either way with that.
How about you? What do you...
Like, if I had to say most, what I really want is some form of Mother 3. Playable in English. If it's like on GBA type virtual console, sure. If it's a remake of some kind, sure. If it's a Mother collection, sure. Like, whatever way they feel like giving me an English version of that game that I can give them money for, I want. Yeah. Outside of that, because like if I'm being like more pie in the sky, I suppose, I really want to see what now that you have Monster Hunter on the Switch.
More pie in the sky than freaking Mother.
Right? It's crazy to think, but it's like what I guess I could say for Mother is that like it's one of those games where there is an English version that's really well done out. So I've played it before, so it would just be me being able to finally give them money at that point. You know what I mean? Like I have the Japanese copy, and you know what I mean? Like it's something I really want, but it's not necessarily something that's like overtly outlandish, I would say, Okay. However, we have Monster Hunter out now on the Switch, and that's typically something that's portable only, but because of the nature of the Switch, obviously you have games in which they are more willing to put these games because it's portable on a home console, right?
Yeah.
So, traditionally, Pokemon has been a portable game system only. And what I would really like, and there's rumors about Pokemon Stars, and Pokemon Stars would be dope, but I would take any RPG-style Pokemon game that I can play on my Switch and on the TV. That would be the dream, Yeah. Give me a remake of Gold or Silver or something, or, Pearl and Diamond, because that's what they would do next. I'd be fine with that.
You know what I would love what they'd do if they did with Pokemon? If they rebooted it. I don't know if this is like sacrilegious to people.
In what way do you mean reboot? Because they kind of have.
Like all the Pokemon that they've built, over 800 they have now, they're all gone. Start and bring only that trash Pokemon. Get him out of there.
Hey, trash Pokemon is good.
Even Electrode.
Why you hating Troubadour?
I'm sorry, he's part of the 151.
Trubbish is good.
Voltorb, get him out of there. Magnemite, out. And all these weird Pokemon, I want them out. I want like Farfetch'd. I think he's one of my favorites. The ghost Pokemon are like the furthest I'd push it, like Alakazam. Even though he's like he has a spoon in his hand or whatever.
Yeah.
That's as far as I would get it. Or maybe like Machamp with his little underwear.
So what they've done for Black and White is when they started Black and White, you were in America, basically, the Unova region. And all of the Pokemon that you can get initially were all new Pokemon. You did not see like a single hint of like an old Pokemon until after the game, and then those other ones came in.
Kanto, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if you went to Kanto so much as like you opened up trade with Kanto or something, and like, you know, Japanese invasion of some kind, right? Yeah. What they did also for the Alola region, the new one, is they kind of made it so that there's more focus on those newer Pokemon. They still have some of the old Pokemon there.
Yeah.
What they've done to differentiate is they made Alola versions of the old Pokemon. So you have Meowth, but Meowth is now a dark type and he looks totally different or whatever. Yeah. So like in those ways, they've done soft reboots, I would say.
No, I want a hard
full-on reboot.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy. I don't know. Like I guess it would be an interesting thing.
Yeah.
But I have such an affinity for those Pokemon, and I think that they do.
Like Chandelure, get out of here.
I love him, son.
Jinx, go home.
Nothing wrong with Jinx. Jinx put in work.
Mr. Mime, you can stay because you're the man. Although
of all the Pokemon to keep, Mr. Mime.
Because he's just
creepy ass. He's just a dude.
Yeah, no, you can cut him. Fuck it, cut him. Get him out. Just be consistent.
There you go. I mean, I think if you're gonna go hard reboot style like that, you cut them all. You know.
Oh, you mean like start completely fresh?
Yeah, I mean that's how you. Because at that point, then like you're basically just doing Black and White again.
I guess I'm reimagining.
Right. Like if you're gonna go reboot, it's that you keep no one, because otherwise you're just doing Black and White again, and that's what ended up being the case.
Then I wouldn't want any designs like the fucking garbage Pokemon.
I don't hate the. I don't hate the. I don't hate him.
I hate him.
I don't hate him.
Out.
I love him. Trubbish is dope. It's also like it's straight up because you're in America. So like, what does America have? A bunch of garbage, right?
Well, yeah,
so that's basically like their social commentary that they put into the game. It's an interesting thing about Black and White is actually because like they made it so that you have all new Pokemon. You don't have access to the old ones for like a extended period of time, right?
Yeah.
But you basically ended up having things that were equivalents of like the Pidgey line. So you had like different birds. You had, you know, these different cats and stuff like that that took their place of what would have just been the old Pokemon. So, you know, they kind of equivocated in a way in that regard. But, like, it's something where, like, people talk about the garbage Pokemon or how there's, like, a Pokemon that's like a keychain, a key ring. And it's like, yeah, but also, like, it fits for that region. And, like, if you're trying to talk shit about America, like, it works, you know? So, like, if you're trying to, like, make heavy-hitted commentary on what America is like, then you go for it, you know? It's an interesting thing to kind of see, like, you know, what people think about, like, America or, like, Hawaii and those regions and how they kind of view them and stuff, you know?
Yeah. So, anything, I guess for me to return to another, to go back to Metroid. Mm-hmm. Something out there that I would want.
Circuit.
What?
Hit that Hyrule Circuit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good map.
Hell yeah.
I would want to see, because I want Nintendo to have a first-person shooter, a multiplayer first-person shooter on their in their lineup, and I feel Metroid Prime would be a perfect opportunity for that. Something where it's like maybe 2v2 or 4v4 focused, small, tight maps, arena-based. Everybody starts off equal.
Now here's a question.
Like hunters, but
now, if you want a first-person shooter, do you want it to be Metroid Prime, or would you rather them make a new IP?
I would like, if I've always wanted the multiplayer for Metroid Prime to evolve to something that's more like they put a lot of time into it, has online.
Right.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of opportunity still left to be tapped there.
Okay.
I was a big fan of Hunters, so
I liked Hunters too. I thought Hunters was pretty good. Like I feel like it would be if they were to pursue that more. I wouldn't
and
be
after
against
seeing
that.
the success of a shooter like Splatoon, and then with the love people have for Metroid, there's a recipe for success too with the new Switch too. I feel like it could be a big hit.
Well, that's the thing too, is like, because I'm with you on that, but when you said Splatoon 2, that's why I'm kind of like, well,
A new IP, right?
I'd rather have a new IP, because when I think about Metroid, I think more about the adventure and all those aspects of the game,
yeah,
right?
you don't think of multiplayer.
Exactly, and I don't really think
definitely
about the
minority.
shooting so much, because you're shooting, but it is still more focused on you making more moves in related to looking around and searching and exploring and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's more like you getting lost in the environment,
Right.
exploring.
If we're looking for something
lot
that's
of
like a
movement
pure
options.
first-person shooter, I'd rather
Although-
see something new.
Because that's not mutually exclusive,
Right.
those ideas. Because, you can still have a lot of the movement options of Metroid in a shooter setting. It's just, I imagine the quality of, like, the Metroid Prime games,
Right.
plus with Nintendo's focus of online multiplayer these days, I think it can be a good success.
I think it's like a subcomponent, right? Like, Metroid is kind of in a weird spot for Prime, because I feel like first-person shooters have kind of evolved since then to not necessarily be in that style anymore.
What do you mean? Oh, Metroid Prime?
Yeah. With
In
that
what
kind
sense?
of like I think about Prey even kind of, right? And Prey's like a little bit more like a old school kind of shoot throwback in that sense of like it being more of like a exploration based type thing. Like I think like a lot of first person shooters have kind of moved out of that sort of realm, you know what I mean? And they're more into that Destiny, Overwatch way, like arena shooter style.
Well,
Arena shooter.
you mean like just competitive?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So, any other last-minute dreams that keep you up at night? Just thinking,
man.
when is Nintendo gonna break it out?
Shoof. I mean, again, I'll
F-Zero?
I was about to bring up, man.
Oh wait, I thought that was the last lap.
Aha. Now's when I catch up from 10th. But yes, I would love a new F-Zero, and if it was a new F-Zero that also, say, took in some of that F-Zero expansion stuff, in which, let's say, you were able to create your own course.
That would be sweet.
I would love that.
Yeah.
And if it had the sense and style and speed of a game like F-Zero GX, and then you were able to make your own course, trade them online, that'd be
How about
fantastic.
An F-Zero third-person action game. You're using Captain Falcon, but it controls like fucking Bayonetta.
Hey man, why the hell not? I'd
That
be
would
into
be
that.
sick. And you're a bounty hunter. You can switch out. It's it's a crossover game with Captain Falcon and Samus. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, actually, it
Go
should
all
be the F-Zero and Star Fox.
And bring Fox in it.
Yep, because you got James McCloud in the game already. So let's figure out how that crossover actually happened. Let's make a whole game that explores that.
Oh man, that would be sick though. Getting some high number combos, get a
Yup.
Falcon kick, and end it with a Falcon punch. Just the Captain Falcon anime they had.
Yeah.
And then that famous gif of him fucking punching.
Yup.
I forgot who it was, but the universe exploding.
I'd be down for that. I would like that. I would not be opposed to like a Brawl Brothers type thing, or like a game of that nature.
Yeah. So I guess we'll wrap that up there.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
if thanks for tuning in. This was our first ever gameplay and discussions video. We want to do more of these kinds of things for both Nintendo, Sony, Xbox, all kinds of games, and try to keep it focused to that platform.
Right.
But hope you guys liked it. I'm FUNKNOWN and Asadasa.
I'm Asadasa.
And bibbidi bop.
I'm gonna be a pretty lady.